The following is a conversation with Daniel Gagliardi. He is a friend of mine who is a personal trainer, a fitness coach, and bodybuilder, and he is also on a mission right now to empower young minds, especially disenfranchised young men, by helping them find a purpose, by battling depression, by battling loneliness. Him and I both view a problem in the world that he refers to as microwave culture, where people expect things to be given to them quickly, that the results come fast, and that which we believe breeds an entitlement mentality. We live in a world where video games allow young men to be thrown into the battlefield quickly, just like that, and without any sacrifice. They can gain codes of honor. They can gain medals. When the reality is, the real world, you don't get a reset button. To gain a medal, you have to go through thousands of hours of building yourself, of becoming a better human being. Women live in a world where a single picture of them on social media can get them 10,000 likes and views within the hour. When in reality, to find good validation, to find good people to build a society with, to build a family with, takes hours and hours, days, months, years of effort to find that one person that you can build a community with. We both would like to challenge everybody who watches this podcast to reflect on their lives, because much of what we talk about in here has triggered a lot of people, and we have both been in debates with people on what builds a good life. I would like to challenge you. If you find an issue with anything that him and I talk about in this podcast, I would like for you to reflect on your own life and see, how happy is your life? Is it filled with good people? Are you having good experiences? The people that are in your lives right now, are they helping you to build a better future? How good is your community? And if your life is great, then you can take everything we say and just throw it away. But if your life, you find that there is a lot of discomfort, a lot of sadness, and a lot of difficulty, and you're not satisfied, I would ask you to just listen to this podcast one more time. Go to this episode and apply some of the things that we talk about in here and see if you can shift your mindset a little bit. I'm not saying that he has the answers. I'm not saying that I have the answers. But I am just saying that there are a lot of ways to tackle this world, and no one perspective is correct. And if your own perspective isn't giving you the results that you want, maybe try a new one. That is all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Daniel Gagliardi, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. This is a podcast. This is Just Kickin' It with Rex Wu. Thank you very much.
Cool.
All right, Dan.
Awesome.
Welcome, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. This is exciting, man.
Absolutely.
Good talks. We're gonna have good talks. I like it.
Yeah. So the reason I brought you on is because we just met randomly at the Kava bar, and then I hopped onto your Instagram page, and I saw, and it was like posting a lot of like videos and pictures of you working out, and just like, and you always post like a motivational quote on there.
Content. Yeah.
There was this one content that really stuck out to me more than any other
really?
one.
Okay.
And I've been pondering about it for actually 2 weeks now. So it's the one where you said, fear the person who managed to heal themselves or heal alone. It was in that realm. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm like, that is a very interesting quote. And I wanted to hear your perspective on that, what led to it, and why you're doing like everything that you're doing, because your Instagram is very, very purposeful.
Yes, very. So the quote goes, you should fear a man who healed himself by himself. And so a little backstory for me is, I was very down and out. I was at a point in my life where I did want to kill myself, unfortunately. And so I felt loneliest I've ever been in my life. And I felt like I really didn't have anybody to look towards. I'm in Florida, originally from Connecticut. So grew apart from my family. Also didn't at the time have many friends with me. So I had no choice but to grow on my own. And So I learned taking steps. Of course, internet's a beautiful thing. So first things first is I just started watching fitness guys like Bradley Martin and Alex Eubanks is one guy too, if you look them up. But basically, I was at a very lonely point in my life, and I wanted to get better and not be in this position anymore. And so I went through a lot of adversity and a lot of struggle, and of course I give all glory to God. I built my relationship with him, and that helped me out a lot. And I believe a man who is alone, down and out, if he figures out a way to pull out, and now I'm the happiest I've ever been. I have so many great friends surrounding me. I have a great relationship with God. And so I feel like it's a very powerful thing when a man comes out of struggle and adversity alone. You know, he's not very dependent. He's independent now. And that's a very dangerous man. Jordan Peterson talks about this actually, is don't fear a dangerous man who knows how to control it. You know, like a kind man is not a good man. A good man is a very, very dangerous man who knows how to control it. And that's just something I learned, and I love that quote. I know exactly what you're talking about, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
If you, I want to rewind the clocks back a little bit. What happened? What was causing this loneliness? Where did that stem from?
Yeah.
When did it start?
So the mistake I made, it was my first love, really. We were together for 2.5 years, and
at what age?
What was I? 21. Okay. 21. Yeah, because I was able to drink. So I was 21 at the time, and we were together from 20 to 22, I want to say. And what I did is I put my purpose on life in her. Like, she was my everything. And I worked hard. No matter what, I wanted to make sure she was safe, she was provided for, and I had no friends. I kind of closed everybody else out. She was my, she was my everything in a sense. And when she eventually she left me, and so when she left out of my life, I was lost, dude. I wasn't a follower of Christ. I wasn't a man of God by any means. So she was my God, essentially. I feel like everybody has a God, whatever you put in place of it. But yeah, she was my everything. And when she left me and abandoned me, that's what happened. I was so lost. I didn't know what to do in life in general. So yeah.
You put your absolute faith and trust and most importantly purpose into somebody else.
Correct.
And that person didn't reciprocate back to you. So when that person left, there was a void, and you didn't know how to fill it, or you filled it with other things.
Correct. Yeah. And so I didn't have a purpose, and that's how I led to almost killing myself. Very suicidal thoughts, because I don't know what the point of life was anymore at that point.
How long were you stuck in that very dark place?
Maybe 6 months to a year, honestly. It's so weird how God works, because as soon as I reached out to him, things started to fall into line. And I reached out to him. I got on my knees one night and started crying out to him. And ever since then, I started praying every night and just talking to him, because I was alone. I don't know who else to talk to, so I just talked to God. Just talked to him like he's my best friend. And from there on out, he provided me with, he knew I was so alone. So randomly, my cousins who moved down to Florida also had a friend group, and they introduced me. And at the time, I just needed friends. I needed someone like I would work all week, and then on the weekends I didn't know what to do. Obviously I was still doing fitness, but it's 2 hours of the day. What are you gonna do for the rest? And from there, once I reached out to him, he provided me with a great friend group at the time, and it was definitely much needed. So for sure.
During that time, did you want? What led up to you reaching out to God? Was God always on there, and then you were just procrastinating, or did you just say like, "F it"? One day you saw a sign, and then you just opened yourself to God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me about that process.
Yeah. So let's see. I grew up Catholic. God was sort of on the sidelines for me, really. Growing up, I know I believed in something, but I wasn't a follower of Christ specifically. I wasn't a Christian. So, I don't know. It's really weird why I turned to God, specifically Jesus. I would always see Bibles. My ex's grandmother was actually a pastor, and she would always plant little seeds in my head. Mm-hmm. Don't forget about God. God loves you, this and that. And so she actually gifted me a Bible one day, but it collected dust. I put it aside, and I don't know, when I was so alone, and I would look at the Bible, and because I like reading and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't know really what drew me. It was just some external force. I just wanted someone to talk to, and I just chose God. I chose Jesus. So, yeah, man.
So then, was it like an immediate switch that everything just like started, like everything fell perfectly into place, or was like a rough patch where you're like, I'm coming to God now, but is it worth it? I don't know. Like, tell me about that.
Oh man, it was. There's always ups and downs. There's good seasons. There's very dark seasons. As you build a relationship with God, it grows on its own. Mm-hmm. You learn better. You learn more about Him. And sometimes, of course, living in the world we live in, temptations come over. There have been times where it's called backsliding from God, and essentially you just fall back into the societal norms, and you kind of forget about God. I actually there's a quote that I put on my Instagram recently, and it was very profound. It's not praising God in the dark times, because that's when you don't have anyone to reach out to, no one to turn to. So it's easy to turn to God. He's always there for you. But it's actually harder to praise God in the good times, because things are going good, and essentially your ego kind of gets the best of you, right? And you forget about Him. So, oh yeah, for sure, I've definitely had ups and downs with the Lord. But I could tell you one thing: He's always been there for me, in the good times and the bad.
That's interesting, because I understand your quote. But for me, I feel like it's been, I see the opposite of that, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Where when things are, like kind of like the story of Job, right? Mm-hmm. When things are going bad, you go, why God? Like, why? I pray to you, and I'm a devout Christian. I go to church every Sunday.
Kind of resentful.
Why are you putting all this crap onto me,
Yep.
Versus like when things are going easy, it seems like it would be easier to pray to God.
Yeah. Yeah, because the ego gets the best of you. You're like, why are you doing this? What flipped the switch for me was actually, I got really good at understanding the fact that adversity is a must, and God needs to put you through trials and tribulations in order to essentially protect you in the future, to make you stronger, to grow as a man. To grow mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, in any given scenario. Adversity is a must. And actually, there's a big thing I was hoping we could talk about is everybody has their lost my train of thought. But yeah, no,
Struggle?
struggle. So just going through adversity and struggle is needed for a man to is needed. So I got really good at understanding that. Yeah, that's why I praise him in the dark times, especially.
I guess that makes sense then, because when your things are going wrong, you do look to God more, whether you're asking him why what's going on, or you're asking him, or you're thanking him for the struggle. So do you thank him for the struggles that you're going through?
Oh yeah, for sure, all the time, because there's a lesson to be learned. He's teaching you a lesson every single time. And so what I wanted to say was, I don't think most people are searching for happiness in a sense. I don't think people are happy when, like, picture yourself every single day on a beach drinking margaritas. You know, at a point, it gets kind of boring.
Yeah.
You want to go through struggles. You know who Alan Watts is?
Alan Watts?
Yep.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Love that man.
Very famous philosopher and
the Stoic King.
Yeah, man. I love him, and he said something very profound, and in a sense of, like I was saying, people aren't looking for happiness; they're looking more so for fulfillment. Because if you were to dream, this is what he said: if you were to have a dream every single night, and you could control your dream, you could live an entire lifetime in your dream. First couple dreams, you're gonna choose, yachts, fancy cars, exotic cars. You're gonna have all the money in the world. You're gonna have an awesome physique, whatever you dreamed of, right? Then you get to a point where you're like, okay, let's change it up, and let's do something different. And so that's when struggles and adversity comes in, because, honestly, it gets boring. Humans, we want struggles. We wanna conquer, and so, yeah, man, definitely. That's my, for sure.
No, I agree with that, because again, like, human beings, like, we're like evolution bred us to be nomadic creatures.
Okay.
Like, there's a reason why our legs are so much thicker than our arms, because when shit hits the fan, the natural human response in the jungle is to run away. Like, we do not take away all this technology, dump us back 20,000 years ago into the trees.
Yeah.
We're losing every single fight against every single animal ever.
Because this is our weapon.
Yeah, this is our weapon. We adapt, we create tools, and more importantly, we form human bonds and we form communities. There's safety in numbers. Like, one-on-one against a lion, we lose. But 20 of us, against a lion, that lion is destroyed.
Of course.
So, but like this, so like our natural sense to like create tools and build communities is just other forms of conquering and exploring, and we're engineers at the end of the day. Like, we find new lands. We're nomads. The fact that we state that people are like, yeah, I'm going to stay in this city for the rest of my life, goes against the very nature of how we're supposed to behave evolutionarily. So I agree with. I love everything that you're saying so far.
Yeah, definitely, man.
All right. So why do you do what you do on Instagram? Because you put a lot of effort into your pictures, into your videos. Like, it's not like there's a lot of like lazy content creation out there. Yours is actually pretty good quality.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So like it's consistent. The shots are beautiful. The messaging, like, it's very, very purposeful. So and that seems to be, if I were to really guess, like, that's your purpose is to create a strong message for disenfranchised young men.
Yeah, so actually, I thoroughly enjoy creating content. I think the mistake that a lot of people make is they want to go viral. They want to make a lot of money. I think that's the wrong goal to have. I thought about this a lot, and everybody's trying to find their purpose in life. And my purpose and my fulfillment, what I found out is I really want to lead I want to lead young men to be better and do better, mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. I feel like God has put a calling on my life, to do that. And so I thoroughly enjoy helping people and spreading a positive message, spreading the truth. A lot of people get caught in the habit, they want to hear, for example, a lot of men will surround themselves with what's called yes men. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but yes men are essentially friends that always tell you, good job, you're doing great. No, don't, your body's perfect the way you are. No, you're doing great. Money isn't everything, don't worry about it. Like those, you need to get those people out of your life. You want people who are constantly pushing you, and that's not good enough. Come on, you could do better. You could do better. You could do better. You never want to surround yourself with yes men. And so also providing the truth on my content, and also another thing is being yourself. Is people like someone was trying to give me some advice. They're like, hey, actually what's blowing up on the internet is funny gym posts, like funny content, and
that's not what you're about.
I told him, it's like, but that's not me. And so, yeah, people get the wrong goals when it comes to content creation. I don't really care about making a lot of money or having a lot of clout. What I care about is when someone comes up to me, and I love this. I've had several friends come up to me and like, hey man, like one of your videos, dude, that last video was sick. It actually got me off the couch and into the gym. Dude, that's so fulfilling rather than creating content that's not you just because you want to create wealth or clout. So I'm just big on being myself and spreading making young, we talked about this at the Kava bars, is kind of guiding young men especially to be better and do better. So yeah, I appreciate you. It's cool to hear that it's good quality content. It's awesome.
I love yourself. Like I found myself scrolling through it for like a while, like for at least an hour, because I'm like, this is a cool quote. I like this one. How the hell did he make his chest look like that? And I'm like,
yeah. It's all right, man. You gotta love it. It's just like anything. If you don't love it, there's gonna be a point where you're just gonna, like you love jujitsu and Muay Thai, yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, like if I never make another YouTube video again for the rest of my life, I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But if I never step onto the mats, onto the gym again, like, dude, you're gonna see a very broken Rex.
Me too, man. Take the gym away from me. Mm-hmm. I am not the same person for sure.
Gotcha. All right, so what do you think is how big is the narrative of young men not having a purpose? How pervasive is that in our society from your perspective?
I mean, man, I was thinking about this actually recently today. I was like, we live in such a I call it a microwave society. Everything's about instant gratification. Mm-hmm. Microwave, like everybody wants instant gratification rather than long-term adversity. And so a lot of young men give into societal norms. It was disgusting. The other day, it was like an article. They're like, why watching porn isn't as bad. Like it could be actually healthy. And you could see society trying to push young men to, and I think it's all on purpose. It's purposeful. To give into instant gratification. It's unfortunately sad, and that's not the way. Like we were talking about before, is you want adversity, you want struggle, you want fulfillment. This microwave society we have. I mean, even like little apps, for example, like Tinder. Instant gratification. It's so quick. Love isn't fought for anymore. Love is just, they do something you don't like, they'll just go on Tinder, find another person. Easy. Everyone's swiping. Mm-hmm. It's just one example. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's unfortunate. And I think young men need to, I don't know if you're a follower of Andrew Tate, but I love his message. And he, just leading young men to, the first thing you should do if you're down and depressed, which I feel like why a lot of young men are down and depressed is because of the instant gratification that we have. They're not fulfilled anymore. And so first thing you could do, just go to the gym, start lifting weights, you know, put your body through struggle, you know, strong body is a strong mind. So, yeah.
Is it possible to be closely tied to technology while still being fulfilled in the modern age?
Mm-hmm. Like me personally?
In general,
technology is beautiful. I think the internet is an amazing thing, but we don't know how to use it. It is a fairly like young concept, like the internet. For example, my content, I'm spreading a positive message on my content, right? Helping people get into better shape, have a stronger mind, and I feel like the internet should be used for that, not watching, if you look at majority of males, TikTok content, it's girls shaking their ass, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's just not productive content. It's not making you better in any way. And it's a beautiful thing, but we're using it in the wrong sense. And also social media too, when it comes to terms, is I have to make sure I'm careful with it because my business is heavily invested in it. Social media has brought us so close. However, we've never been more distant from each other. And in terms of, like the other day, it was yesterday actually, going to the gym, go down the elevator, and I see, elder woman, smiles at me, walks by, says, "Hey, how's it going?" However, before I went down that elevator, there was a young girl just sitting on her phone, paying no attention to me or her surrounding. And I could see the generational difference of what social media and the internet has done to us right there and then. I thought about it, I was like, wow, that is so sad. Yeah, she probably has a lot of followers, she's probably messaging people there, but she can't even say like, "Hey, how's it going?" or look up, eye contact with a person next to you. Rather than, the elderly woman who didn't grow up with social media, she knows how to properly, communicate between people. "Hey, how's your day going?" I was like, "It's going great. Have a nice day, ma'am." And just a simple, but we've lost that in social media. We're so connected, but yet we're so far apart, and it's sad. I think the internet's we're using it for the wrong sense.
Mm-hmm. No, I was actually listening to another podcast this morning. I don't know if you listen to the All In podcast. It's like for highly successful Silicon Valley venture capitalists, and they just every week they just post up a video of them talking for like an hour and a half about like politics, business, news, or like just etc. Very, very good stuff. I definitely recommend it. Shout out to All In podcast.
All in one, it's called?
It's All In.
All In.
Yeah,
all in,
they're all poker players too, so like you would go all in.
Oh, yeah, I see. That's awesome.
It's really good stuff.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. So this week's episode, they opened up with one of the guys, Chamath. He was talking about how he was interacting with his 15-year-old son, right? Mm-hmm. And he was saying his son didn't know how to answer the phone. As in, he could swipe, but then when he picked up the phone, it was like, huh? And Chamath was like, no. When we talk on the phone, you answer me with a hello, hi dad, something with a greeting. He was just like, huh? Huh? And it wasn't even a word.
He was 15?
This kid's 15 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. So just hearing that this morning and then hearing your story of just the generational gap of the older people who didn't grow up around social media where they were forced to interact versus now the younger generation who can't even answer a freaking phone.
I know.
It is a little concerning.
Yeah.
How how pervasive is that actually, do you think? Because I want to I keep myself in check as far as
as you should. Yeah.
As things that are on the internet, I have to remind myself that's the internet. What I see on Instagram does not equate to what's actually going on in the real life. Because for every single example that we talk about where this generation is messed up, I can pull about 15 examples just from my everyday interactions where things are just fine.
Yeah.
Like when I hear people talk about like there's no good women out there or couples are bad, I have like 3 of my friends are getting married next week and they have the healthiest relationships ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to keep that in mind. But so I guess so back to the question, which is, do you think the problem is as bad as the internet is making it sound, as far as the current generation of young people, young men, young women, and their addiction to technology? Or are we just seeing a huge magnifying glass on that group of people?
Yeah, I think, same with me, because I surround myself with people who, can communicate, and I make sure, like we're all, I just surround myself with strong, like-minded individuals. And I feel really whatever you focus on, whatever you tell yourself, that's what you're going to see. For example, when it comes to women, I used to be the guy, man, there's no more godly women out here. There's no more, I'm not going to be able to find a wife in this Western society. There's no good women. Keep telling yourself those are the type of women you're going to attract. Is not what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And Tang, do you know what Tang is? He's a regular at the Kava Bar too. So he actually said something very profound to me, and he's probably gonna watch this. So shout out Tang, I got you. But he was saying if you view women like that, then that's all you're going to attract. So I feel like having a positive mindset is very important. Once you start telling yourself there are still good women, people could still communicate, that's what you're gonna see. And I still struggle with that. However, I do see a very big difference when it comes to communication out in the real world. Maybe not the friends that I surround myself with, but it is people in general. When I go out to public environments, everyone's always on their phone, texting. It's almost, people are almost weirded out. Even at the Kava Bar, I'll do this sometime as a social experiment. When you go up to them and try to start a conversation, most people are polite, but people don't know how to talk anymore. Especially if I went up to a woman, I see this a lot, is they can't communicate properly. They're almost weirded out. Like, I don't know if you've ever asked a girl, but they're weirded out when a guy comes up and talks to them. Yeah. Like, oh, he's such a pervert. Like that mindset. A lot of them have that mindset, and I've seen it out in public.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we just, I have male energy. They have female energy. It's different. Mm-hmm. And it's good to surround yourself with the other sex, not just for sexual whatever, for attraction. It's just like it's good, like a female energy. It's good to have, or so.
100%.
I don't know. I see it out in public every day, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, especially from the ages of, like, I would say, 21 and younger. Definitely, I can notice a difference.
Yeah. I have been noticing, like I'm in my mid-30s, and I have a lot of my friends who are actually like getting less and less involved on social media. I've had, just this year alone, I've had 3 of my friends just delete their social media, like everything. They turned off their Instagram, Snapchat, everything.
How old are they?
Also in their mid-30s.
Okay, yeah.
And these are guys who like, we grew up on like MySpace and Facebook.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the old stuff.
Wow, I didn't even have a MySpace.
Yeah. But so like it's so do you think the current generation is going to reach like the current 21-year-olds, the Gen Zers, they're going to hit a point in their 30s where they also turn off their social media, or are they going to be so addicted to it?
Yeah, so I believe that what's the law is for every action there's an opposite reaction.
For every action the equal and opposite reaction.
Correct. So if you ask your average person, let's say, has social media ruined communication between people or the internet in general? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people will say, yeah, they agree with that. Majority of people would.
Yeah, I would too.
that means we're becoming aware of it, which is important. You know, the first part of solving a problem is to recognize there is one, right? So I believe people are becoming more aware of it and the dangers of social media and the internet. And so what they're going to do is better themselves from it, and they're going to become conscious of it. And as we get older, and we're going to teach our kids, like, hey, this is an awesome tool to have. However, these are the dangers of it to be aware of. And so make sure to just be aware of it, and we'll be able to teach our kids. Remember, Instagram's only, I think, 12 years old.
12 years old.
Yeah. And so it's very young. So we're kind of like the generation that's aware of the dangers. And so from us, our struggles that we have, we could learn from them, and we're going to pass that information down to the younger generations. We're not in total, like, the world's not going to end. Like, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think we just, we're figuring out that the dangers of it, and we'll pass that information down to other generations.
That's probably the most positive outlook on social media I've ever heard in my life. Because
you gotta have a positive outlook. I mean,
yeah, no, because like everyone I talk to, they're like, "Oh no, the world's gonna burn down with TikTok and YouTube Shorts." But no, I think what you said makes a lot of sense. We were essentially the crash dummies. Like, we got the MySpace and the Facebooks, and then before we even figured out what was going on, and then unfortunately we had to get some eggs cracked in the process.
Correct. Yeah. It's a part of the process. Yeah.
But then because we grew up with it, we'll be able to tell our kids, like, yo, like, you can be on there just no more than an hour, or, you know, like, be careful what you look at, or just understand that what you see on here isn't real.
Yeah.
Because our parents couldn't tell us that because they didn't grow up with it.
Correct. Yep.
Interesting.
Exactly.
No, that's very, very hopeful. Thank you for that.
I have hope. Yeah, I have hope, definitely. You gotta have a positive outlook. I mean, if you just say, "Oh, we're screwed," like, what's the purpose of that? Okay, we're screwed.
That's a nihilistic mindset.
No, again, be better, do better. That's my message I try to tell people.
Gotcha. All right. So I guess the next question is: were you always this jacked, or like, did that be, or like, when you were with your girlfriend and then you broke up, like, were you
like the come up story?
Yes,
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know exactly.
Because a lot of people are gonna look at you right now like, oh yeah, it's easy for him to be positive. He's good looking. He's got a nice haircut. He's jacked and everything.
Yeah.
But you and I both know.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, but you and I both know that to get to this stage was a ridiculous amount of effort and hard work.
Yeah, man.
So like, if you could just share with the people.
So, yeah, I've never been. This is the best shape I've been in my entire life. So, I served in the military 4 years in the Marine Corps.
Oh, thank you.
And what happened was, I was in boot camp. I was actually 119 pounds.
Damn.
Very underweight. And I try to show off my before and after pictures on social media as much as I can, just to show people this didn't come, like, it wasn't. This is years, bro. I'm like over 5 years of hard work. And I was 119 pounds. I remember when I weighed in at boot camp. And after boot camp, I was like 122. Still didn't gain any weight. So I would wear the dress blues, but I was always kind of shy, I guess you could say, because I talked the talk, but I didn't walk the walk. You know what I mean? So I was just, I did infantry in the United States Marine Corps. So being infantry, you think, big, strong, tough guy. I was not that at all.
Not at 120 pounds, you're not?
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't really for myself, more so it was for my team, my squad. So, because if you're on the battlefield, like, you want to be strong, both mentally and physically. So I started working out. My friends in the Marine Corps kind of guided me and to start lifting weights. And so, I started out 119 pounds. First year, I started working out. I put on about 20 pounds of muscle. So I was like 140. Yeah.
That's good. That's real good.
Yeah. It's called newbie gains. So when you first go into the gym, anyone really, especially if they've never worked out before, they experience what's called newbie gains. And it's just like you experience growth, or if you're trying to lose fat, you lose a lot of fat pretty quickly, as long as you're consistent with it. And so, yeah, I got the 20 pounds of newbie gains. Every time I kind of hit a plateau. So 140 was my next step to try to break through. Still wasn't the. Also, when it comes to bodybuilding and powerlifting, a lot of people have what's called body dysmorphia. So unfortunately, people see me, like, as you say, oh, you're jacked, dude, and everything. But every time I look in the mirror, I still see that 120-pound kid. And I'm terrified to go back to that. And so I keep on wanting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Even though you telling me, like, oh, he's jacked and everything, I still don't think that in my mind. I still see that 120-pound kid, and I need to push myself. Right now, my next goal is about 170 pounds. I want to get to 180, 190, and then I want to start competing.
Bodybuilding?
Yeah, correct. Get on stage at like 180 shredded. So, no, I definitely, I've been working out for 6 years, and we were talking about this earlier, is you gotta love it. You have to have some form of addiction to it almost, because you'll get to a point where you can be, like, I'm very disciplined, and you can rely on that, but if you don't love it, you're gonna have times where you're gonna have an excuse to not do it. And I thoroughly enjoy bodybuilding and powerlifting. I fell in love with it, and it's not just a physique thing. I wouldn't be the person I am today mentally without it. As I said earlier before, a strong body is a strong mind. And so, yeah, I definitely didn't spawn like this. I had, and what a lot of people say, like, very bad genetics. But yeah, I absolutely love it. It's my passion, and I love guiding people to it and leading, especially young men, to build a better physique. For sure, it's one of my great passions. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah, similar story actually. Like, I'm 155 right now.
Okay.
In college and throughout my 20s, I hovered between like 120 and 130.
Okay.
And I was like, funny story. I used to be a mechanic, right? And like we would have to like change people's tires and then you would have to inflate the tires. There's this specific machine where you fill it up with air and then you crank it open. It shoots like a huge blast of air into the tire and then it seals it up against the rim.
Okay.
I was so light that someone had to stand behind me whenever I used it, because I would open it up and it would shoot me backwards.
Blow you away. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like there was actually one time where like the first time I used it, it shot backwards and and this thing is like about this big,
dude.
Pure steel.
Wait, how much did you weigh?
At the first time I used it, I was about 115.
Wow.
So that thing went bang.
Oh man.
Yeah. And it was at that moment I realized I need to put on weight.
Put on some weight.
Yeah. So I changed up my diet and I started going to the gym more.
Yeah, dieting's that's the tough part.
Yeah.
I love the gym and fitness, but I was at a point in my life where I was eating 5,000 calories a day.
Damn.
Dude, when a fork would touch my tongue, I'd gag. Like, I couldn't eat any more food. It was just, and I always tell people too, you eat for results, not pleasure. And so a lot of people are like, dude, why do you only eat chicken and rice? It's like, yeah, it doesn't taste good, but I'm not looking for the taste. I'm looking for the results it gives me. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Diet is very hard. Very hard.
My cooking is really simple. I just have like a big pot. I put water in, chicken, carrots, broccoli, potatoes, whatever.
Easy.
Like, it's nice and simple,
Easy,
loaded
quick.
with nutrients, and that's like my food for the next 2-3 days, and then like rice on the side or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
Simple.
I'm not trying to load it up with like all different sauces and stuff.
Keep it simple.
Simple.
Yep. I'm the same.
Awesome. All right, so we talked a lot about like social media and like self-improvement and stuff. So there's actually this one thing that I've talked to quite a few people about, and I want to get your perspective on it.
Okay.
Video games is to men, or video games is to boys, what social media is to girls.
Okay.
Meaning like,
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
because like boys, men, like we have an innate desire in us to go to war, conquer lands, and like just do all these crazy things, like and we don't really have that opportunity nowadays unless you like join the police corps or you join the police force, like, or you join a MMA gym. Like, most men in this day, 99% of men will never get punched in the face.
Yeah.
You know, but where can they do that? All I gotta do is plug in the machine, hook it up to my TV, and
play some Call of Duty, fighting games.
And before I know it, I'm in Iraq and I'm shooting terrorists or whatever. Or that's gonna be taken so out of context.
but I can understand.
You know.
That's interesting. I never looked at it.
Yeah. Like that, and then that's kind of how like we validate ourselves with our ability to survive dangerous things. But because we're not doing dangerous things anymore, video games is like an instant microwave solution for that.
Yep. Replaces it.
Yeah, and then women, like, they validate themselves on their ability to like gain views, get people to look at them, and
attention.
Yeah, so in the past, like a woman, they would go out to the bar, dress up really nice, you know, and they get the attention of 5, 10, 15, 25 guys, right? Nowadays, they don't gotta do that anymore. They just throw on a camera, you know, do the makeup, and before they know it, 10,000 people are looking at them right then and there, and you can tip them money, whether you become an OnlyFans girl, a cam girl, or whatever. So like the way that women use social media, you know, is their form of validation, their form of competition.
That's interesting. I never looked at it like that.
In the same way that boys and young men use video games too, because I'm like, yo, I busted your ass in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
What's good, son?
What's up?
Yo, man, I'll let you beat me, man. Yo, let's run it back right now. You know, like that's. And so I'm curious to get to hear your take on that, if possible.
Wow, that's actually, I've never heard of that. That's actually a very profound observation.
Yeah, it wasn't me. Like like someone else presented it on their podcast, and then I've been thinking about it. I'm like, and I'm trying to find holes in it. And yes, there are exceptions. There are, you know, like there are men who don't play video games, there are women who play video games, there are men with high social media accounts, but like I'm talking about the general.
Yeah, no, I understand. So again, going back to the microwave instant gratification, I mean, growing up, honestly, I've let's look at personal experience then. So growing up, I was actually a big gamer. I would compete in Call of Duty. I actually did, I don't know if you're familiar with MLG or game battles or anything like that, and I did a lot of that. Dude, I have thousands and thousands of hours on Call of Duty and Minecraft is my other one. And I want to start gaming again for sure, but I know, like I stopped playing video games because I know it's not going to bring me success. I won't see the success unless I become a pro gamer or a streamer or something like that. But
that's like that's a 0.01%.
Yeah, that's not something I want to do though. I want to, like I said, my purpose, and I want to do that. But as personal experience, what video games did for me is, I guess, provide an addiction that kind of passes the time, honestly. Because I would spend 12, 13, 14 hours a day playing video games.
Yeah.
And this is back when I was, tiny. I was 119 pounds. And but honestly, I think a lot of guys play video games to put a Band-Aid over a problem. Some people thoroughly enjoy video games, but some people use it as an escape from the real world. They're lost. They don't have a purpose, and so they just kind of mindlessly use video games as an escape every single day. So I could see that. That's one of my point of views. As for women, I'm not a girl, so I can't really tell from experience from that. But I could see, girls have the most attention they've ever had. Besides having those 10, 15 guys back at the bar they're getting attention from, now they're getting thousands, tens of thousands of guys' attention all over the world. And I feel like that could have very negative effects on women. Again, I can't speak from experience, but what I believe is that they're kind of put on this pedestal now. And with modern day feminism, which teaches, I don't need no man anymore, I could catch my own bag, which is an absurd mindset to have. We both need each other. Men need women, women need men. And I feel like it's putting them on a pedestal now. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the podcast Fresh and Fit.
Yep.
That's going to get, people love it or hate it. Yep. I love it. I feel like they tell the truth, and they give women the red pill that they don't want to hear. And you could see it triggers them. A lot of times if someone tells you something that triggers you, a lot of times it's probably because it's true, deep down. And so I love that podcast because it just with modern day feminism, I feel like it kind of humbles women a little bit. And it shows what men really want. And that men and women are different. We're not the same. We have different values. We have different traits. It's the yin and yang, man. It's a beautiful balance. That's how God created us. We're not the same. So yeah, that's my take on it.
What do men really want?
What do men really want? I feel like, well, let's look at history. What have men always done is they went out and conquered. They went out and hunt. Women stayed home and cared and nurtured for the children. When the man came home, the woman cooked for the man, cared and nurtured for him. He wanted to escape. He wanted to be peaceful at home with his kids and his wife. So what men want is fulfillment. Again, going back to, I don't think we're searching for happiness, we're searching for fulfillment. And going out having, for example, the first thing a woman says, and I'm speaking for majority, is when a woman becomes independent, and I have an example the other day too, independent, the first thing, financially let's say, first thing she says is, okay, cool, I'm independent, I don't need a man now. The first thing a man says when he becomes financially independent and very successful, he said, okay, I could have a family now, I could provide. And that's what makes men truly happy. They have a purpose. They want to protect and provide. Women want to care and nurture. And I don't care. I'm very unapologetic when it comes to that viewpoint because a lot of women hear me say that. I'll say it at Kava Culture and they get triggered. But it's the truth, man. And look at the depression rate and how many young men and women are depressed nowadays. Dude, it's insane, bro. There's a correlation between those two. It's not just coincidence. And so, yeah, I'm very unapologetic when it comes to that viewpoint for sure. I'm very passionate about that.
So I already know like the amount of men who take that red pill and they start to fight against their depression. Mm-hmm. What about the women when they get the red pill? Do they fight back against the depression?
Well,
I have no idea about that one actually.
Yeah, I feel like women are emotional creatures, and I think, I don't know who said it the other day. There's going to be, in the very near future, there's going to be a lot of women who the depression rate for women are going to skyrocket, and that's because of modern day feminism. This is what I believe. Modern day feminism is teaching the wrong things that women want. It's not that I feel, again, I'm not a woman, so I can't say it for experience, but I feel like women want to care and nurture. That's what truly makes them happy. But what feminism is teaching, become independent, don't have kids, because a lot of young women, I don't want kids right now. I'm waiting until my 30s and 40s. But they're teaching women to be independent and go catch the bag, and career women too. That's deep down, truly, I don't think that's what makes them happy. They want to care and nurture. Men want to protect and provide. So I feel like in the very near future, there's going to be a lot of women who are going to be very sad. They're going to be in their 40s. They're not going to be able to have kids anymore. And I mean, if you think about, like, you're gonna die alone. One thing Andrew Tate talked about this is when his grandmother passed away or something. He said something very profound. She was passing away, she was in a hospital bed or something. He was saying, I noticed that the amount of people that surrounded her as she was passing away. Think about that. The amount of people she impacted, her kids, her family, cared for her, loved her as she cared and loved for them. That's so beautiful to pass away with, surrounded by so many people, so many family members. A lot of, if you don't have kids, I mean, it's sad. Like, imagine dying alone. That's terrible, and I don't think that's what women want, truly.
So, I'm gonna give you a chance to defend yourself because I can already see the Reddit comments coming.
Oh, I already know, dude. I have debates with women all the time, and yeah.
Are you saying that women need to leave the workforce and abandon everything and be completely subservient to a man?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Because I already know that that's what's going to come your way if this ever hits
sure.
Reddit magically. So I'm giving you the chance right now to defend yourself.
Yeah. So honestly, again, I'm not a woman, so I can't say from experience. But if you look at the numbers, what's the quote is people lie, numbers don't. Mm-hmm. And if you look at, and again, we're early on in the stages right now with feminism and this culture and stuff. So we have to wait and see really with this next generation, kind of our generation really. Our generation has the most amount of, like independent women and career women. And so we kind of have to wait and see to see what happens. Again, I forgot who said it, but someone said in the very near future there's going to be a Great Depression. So I guess it's just a wait and see on how it turns out. It's kind of a trial and error, I guess. But I don't know, masculine traits. So like for me, what I look for in a woman is, I don't want a career-driven woman. I want a wife who's going to care and nurture for my children. Someone I could come home to, and kind of supports me emotionally through the struggles as I was going out and conquering. I want to come home and just relax with her, and so what I look for a woman is not career-driven, and these are masculine traits for a woman to have. Women who are career-driven, very confident. Like modern-day feminism teaches women to have masculine traits, and again, we're not the same. I don't believe that makes them happy. What makes them happy, and this has been how has it been for how long? Women have always been. It's only recently where that a lot of women are independent now and aren't having kids. So it's just, I don't know. It's just a wait and see game, I guess. See what happens. Again, this is all my viewpoint, what I believe.
Mm-hmm. No, we're just two friends having a conversation.
Yeah, and it's another thing I believe is we need to have more productive conversations. I feel like we're too divided, where our viewpoints are almost like a religion. Like, I believe this, and this is the only way. I don't care what you have to say, numbers, whatever it is, this is the only way. It's like we're so divided, but we need to have more productive conversations, and that's what I try to do.
So you try to have these productive conversations with men and women in real life,
yeah.
But you're telling me that you receive a lot of resistance at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but in order to have, again, going back to what's the first part of solving a problem is realizing there is one. Being open-minded and being open to maybe this isn't the way. Maybe this isn't the way it should be. And also, everyone has a different viewpoint. Mm-hmm. A woman's a woman, so she's gonna be able to tell you what actually makes her happy. And if she's not happy, well, obviously there's something you got to change. Mm-hmm. If she is happy, well, keep doing what you want.
Yeah, because I talk to a lot of because I've talked to a few women about like these things, and they always tell me like, well, I'm in my 20s, I'm young, I'm healthy, I want to travel mm-hmm. the world, and I 100% get that.
Yeah.
But then so when you hear that, like what is your thought process? What are your response to these?
Yeah.
To these young when they say that, like, hey, like, well, first off, F you, don't tell me what to do with my life. That's usually the first thing that comes out of their mouth.
Yeah.
The second thing is, like, I want to travel. Like healthcare is better. Well, modern science is better than it's ever been. We're living longer, so I can push off the things later in life, whether that falls in line with biology or not. Is like that's that. So, what is your typical response whenever you encounter that?
Okay, so here's another viewpoint that a lot of people kind of get triggered with is men's value, I believe, is men are valued more so when they're older, like in their 30s, when they have a solid business, when they're financially successful. You kind of use your 20s to grow, maybe not get into a relationship, and just focus on becoming better mindset-wise, financial-wise, spiritual-wise, and be solid and grounded by the time you're in your 30s or 40s. Women are valued, I believe, and they're younger when they're more, because a woman in her 40s, a lot of times they can't have children anymore, 40s or 50s, and
The skin starts to sag.
yeah, so they're not as beautiful. People are gonna probably say something with that.
No, that's the reality.
It's a reality, man.
There's a reason that most porn stars are in their younger 20s.
Yeah, they're more beautiful in their younger 20s, and so they go out, they want to party and do all this, but then when the party's over in their 40s or 50s, they've lost their value. I feel like a woman's value is when she's young, she's fertile, she has energy, she's beautiful. So that's what I believe, at least.
Yeah, raising kids is tough, you know. When you're 20s and 30s, you have energy to raise them.
Yeah, my sister actually said that. She's like, man, I'm so glad. My little nephew is 5 years old. She's like, man, I'm so glad I had a kid now rather than when she was in her 40s, because I would not have the energy to deal with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said that was her own words too. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
There you go. So, modern femininity is pushing a specific narrative onto women.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a narrative that's being pushed onto men?
Yeah, to be weak. Man.
Where's that coming from? Why is that even a thing?
Yeah, we're easier to control. Think about it. If we're young, strong men, physically, spiritually, and financially, we're harder to control. We can't be controlled. Rather than if we're fed porn, giving up our energy, giving up our seed, playing video games mindlessly. I mean, that's a slave mindset, right? So I believe it stems from being controlled, and the narrative is that young men are being weakened, and they don't want young, strong men because we'll be able to fight back. So I think it stems with control.
Who is they?
I don't know, honestly. Andrew Tate talks about it, like the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, the world leaders. We don't know the names. But I feel like in society we have these figures like the president or these political leaders. But I feel like they're just puppets to feed us the illusion of freedom, rather than the guys on top, which I had no idea who they are, but I believe there are people, the elites, if you want to call them, that are pushing specific narratives to weaken men and women.
Because I hear that a lot from a lot of people, and I take a huge issue with it because, as somebody in a position of leadership myself within like my own life, company, gym, whatever, I recognize how important it is for the people within my organization, within my circle, to be strong. Like, if you're a weak person, I don't want you in my circle.
Correct.
That's why, like, there's a reason you and I are talking, and I'm not talking with other people, because I recognize that you're a person of value. You've put a lot of thought, and I see the work you put on your social media. Like, it's good, high quality, high value things. So I'm happy to accept you like into like my circle.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know?
I'm happy to call you a friend too.
You know?
That's why I took the time out of the day and come out here, because I love having this conversation, surrounding myself with people like you.
For sure.
So
And so I don't imagine for a second that the people who are at the top levels, the elites, whoever they are, whatever they are, flying spaghetti monsters or lizard people.
Yeah, lizard people, I like that.
No, like whoever it is, like yeah. I don't believe for a second that they also don't recognize that it is within their best interest to have, say I'm in control of the United States. Like I'm gonna want my country to be filled with a bunch of like proverbial killers, not like homicide maniacs, but like we started out this conversation with Jordan Peterson. I want people who are extremely smart, capable, dangerous, but also know how to control themselves. And having a society like that is very, very good. And I don't imagine that there's anyone at the high levels that doesn't know that. So like when I hear like, oh, there's people who are controlling this, like I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. Like whether you're whether you're United States or Russia or China, like the Chinese, like I don't know if you've ever heard about like how Chinese runs TikTok. It's different from how America runs TikTok.
Yeah, so they like first off they give you a reminder like, hey, you've been on here for 20 minutes, you want to take a break, right? That's one. And also they every 10 minutes show them like a productive content or something, right?
Well, they're showing them like people working out. They're showing them science, engineering, mathematics. They're showing them like martial arts, people doing amazing things. If you ever watch like spend any time on like the Chinese shorts of YouTube,
I've heard about it. Yeah.
It is really fascinating stuff. Like I can't stand American TikTok. American TikTok is so
different
trash.
World, right?
Yeah. So they're in the business of trying to make sure that, hey, the people who are consuming this content, not only are they not wasting their life on it, but they're also trying to like fill their minds with like, whoa, this is what's possible when I apply this set of physics fundamentals. I can create rocket ships that that take us to Mars.
But why does America like not do that?
Yeah, so I'm not so sure that it is a group of people purposely controlling that, because to orchestrate that is incredibly complicated, because we're talking about influencing 20 Western countries at the same time. I feel like it's more of just a societal like it's
influence.
Societal influence. I feel like is actually an actual organic being. There is an actual public consciousness that is very pervasive, that teaches itself over and over, and it has to run the cycles of chaos to get to the next level. And I feel like we're in the middle of the next level right now, because so I'm not so sure it's a group of people that are trying to keep us weak. I think it's just a reaction to what we've done in the last 20 years. And then, but because our generation, you and I, we went through this the trial and error process of, hey, how good is social media for you? Turns out it's really fucking bad. We're going to be able to teach our next generation how strong it is, to how to use it correctly, and that's going to create a stronger generation. So I think it's more of a societal public consciousness than an actual controlled effort.
I could see that, yeah. Also, I believe it's a battle between evil and good. Obviously, there's a lot of evil in the world, and I believe what society teaches is not how humans should live. So yeah, maybe it's not like a group of people, sitting at a desk, what do you call it, Illuminati? Yeah, they're all got the robes and they're all meeting, which, I mean, honestly, that does happen. Like when it comes to political figures, there's videos of like weird stuff. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I really truly believe it's just a battle between evil and good. And so that's my main belief. Maybe not what we picture as like sitting, okay, we're gonna feed the society this. Maybe not that, but a battle between good and evil.
Gotcha.
Spiritual battle.
So what are your thoughts on this, so complete switch of topics here, but still related. The young Americans' rise of socialism and their affinity towards it.
Yeah, so socialism in terms of like depending on the government for most things, right?
Yeah.
So
Socialism by definition is a community-oriented, is more community-oriented possessions of the means of control. So like instead of a single CEO named Elon Musk controlling all of Tesla, all of SpaceX,
yeah,
it would be like the engineers and scientists who helped them build it all have like, everyone has equal ownership and everyone can say and have input and make decisions.
yeah.
And there is no longer a need for a super powerful figurehead anymore.
Yeah.
That's actual socialism.
So that's interesting. I thought about this a little bit because I'm big on capitalistic society, capitalism. I feel like socialism. Well, I believe socialism leads to communism eventually. The fact that it's hard though too because the gap is just getting more and more. Like there's no longer going to be a middle class soon. It's just going to be very wealthy and very poor. I feel like it's harder and harder for us small guys to make a very good living financially, but that's a limiting mindset to have. I feel like if you want to be super successful financially, you can. It's going to be very, very hard, but don't have that limiting mindset. I feel like a society should be capitalistic. There should be someone who is an absolute beast, like say Elon Musk. He wasn't given everything. He started from the bottom. He has stories of where he said he didn't even have a home. He would sleep in his office that he rented out on his couch. Like those stories, Elon Musk is in a position, we're just using him as an example because he's just a complete badass, dude. He's smart and he worked his way to the top. And for us to like have people like that and then he has to kind of take a step back and say and give what he has earned. I don't agree with that. I think I don't really agree with socialism. I feel like it's a dog eat dog world out there, and if you deserve to be on top, then God will put you there. So that's my take on that.
Interesting. All right, so I'm gonna challenge you. Can you make the case for socialism? Why could that possibly be good?
Okay, so socialism could be good because, again, that gap is becoming bigger and bigger now. So I feel like the very poor is demotivated. They're not enjoying life, and they feel almost hopeless, right? So socialism, having the people who are really on top, kind of being able to almost push them to live a better life. And again, we're mainly talking financially. I feel like socialism could be a good thing rather than one person. There's that saying, the rich gets richer. I don't feel like we should have that much of a gap, and I feel like the very wealthy could help more people. But then again, a lot of people look at rich people because they have a negative mindset towards money. They'll say, "Oh, rich people are snobs. Rich people aren't good." When you look at very wealthy people, a lot of them donate and give back a lot. What's the capital gains tax? Like 35%, 40%. Sometimes they have to give away more than half their money that they earned to taxes. And
especially if you're in California.
Yeah, and people will say like, oh, they just donate just to get around the tax loophole and stuff. Is that a bad thing? Like, they're donating money that at the end of the day, they're helping a lot of people. So also, I feel like a lot of people have a negative mindset towards money, and people who are very wealthy and rich on top just have a negative view when that's not the case at all. They're just jealous, I feel like, really. But going back to why socialism could be a good thing is it'll break that gap up between the wealthy and the poor.
Do we almost need like a socialist revolution to make that happen, or can that be accomplished without a socialist rise up of the middle class or lower class, pitchforks and knives?
Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, to get anything done really is, what are you going to do? Say, like, hoorah, you're going to tell them what words that it should be like this. I feel like to get anything done really is when people take action, like physical action. And I don't think it could just happen without that. Yeah.
Awesome. So, all right, running out of camera battery. So two more questions.
Okay, go for it.
All right.
Speed round.
All right. So continuing on this train of thought, are people actually getting poorer?
Okay. Yes, because of inflation.
But because the way I look at it, when you look at the quality of life of someone, like of a poor person from like the 1920s, they were stick skinny. They had no access to anything, no social security.
Okay, I see where you're going.
No money. They forget about food. Like you were like, if you were poor, you were pretty much dead on arrival.
Yeah.
You weren't making it past 20s and 30s. Nowadays, our poor people are fat.
Our homeless people have iPhones. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's an interesting observation, actually. Yeah, that's crazy. So I think it comes back to gratitude also. As we grow as a society, we always want the latest and greatest. We want the best, but we kind of forget how far we've come. Like I just said, we have homeless people who have iPhones. They're not starving. There's fat homeless people. like
when in history has that ever been a thing anywhere?
So it goes back to just being grateful for where we are really and how much we have. In America, we have it so good that we need to find something to complain about. Really, that's how good we have it. And I mean, there's places in the world where they're struggling to have dinner tonight. They don't know if they're gonna have dinner tonight. That's crazy. So the difference between we just gotta be grateful for where we're at and understand, like, okay, I have a jacket, I'm not cold, I have food, like we have our basic necessities. So it's a good positive mindset to have.
Yeah, because like I like to ask people a question like on this topic is, actually I'll ask you, would you rather be John D. Rockefeller, have all his money, all his influence, and live during his time of the late 1800s, early 1900s, or would you rather be an average person with an average income today?
Probably Rockefeller.
Are you sure?
To have all that money.
I don't know, because back then you had a car that did 0 to 60 in 3.5 minutes.
Oh,
you had no AC. You had your plumbing was a joke. If your shower, the water that came out was like a trickle.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, now that you mention that,
like healthcare.
Yeah, just
back
being your
then.
average dude.
Like this.
I get it. Okay.
This phone right here
is
more powerful than anything that existed in 1925.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah.
That's
cool. When we get onto this topic, I'm like, do you actually understand what you're giving up to be the world's richest man in the year 1915?
Yeah, it's not like being the world's richest man today.
No. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like private jet, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Private boat, no. Like you had a big house, yeah, but like to get from like this side to that side or whatever, like whatever, like it was difficult. You know, the streets were messed up.
Yeah.
Like we take showers every single day. They took showers once a week if they were lucky.
Yeah.
You know, so Yeah, it's
I switched my answer. You're good. I don't look at it like that.
Yeah, cool. Like you don't even have to rewind the timeline back very much. Like
no, not yeah.
Like a Ferrari from 1985 had a 0 to 60 time of 8.5 seconds.
That's my Mazda. That's my
exactly.
4-cylinder Mazda.
Like my 1995 Accord would smoke that.
Oh man, dude, what? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I could say my Mazda is faster than a Ferrari now. Huh?
You absolutely can.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and like you said, like homeless people have like, they're not Ferraris. They have like fancy phones. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
So when people tell me like they're poor or getting poor, I'm like, I honestly don't see it. Because of what the amount of things that they have access to, like remember when we were kids, we had to sign on to the internet. We had to go, Ma, get off the phone.
Yeah.
Versus what we have now.
Yeah, just super quick. Now, and then we still get mad when our phones don't load right away. We're like, takes 10 seconds besides 1 second, and you're like, man, it drives you nuts.
Yeah, like the cameras in this phone are more powerful than what Hollywood was using in 2001.
Yeah, dude, I use my iPhone for all my content.
It takes amazing videos.
Really good, clean quality videos.
Yeah. All right. So final question then: if you could have any impact on the world, what type of impact would you like to have?
So going back to my purpose, it's just I want to lead men to be better and do better. I feel like men are more lost than ever before. Young men specifically are more lost than ever before. They don't have purpose, they don't have fulfillment. And I, fortunately, going through adversity and struggle, was able to find my purpose and fulfillment through God. And so I want to lead people to, lead young men to be better and do better physically. So that's my fitness. Mentally, through my content, I do that. Spiritually, my relationship with God. I try to lead more young men towards Christ, and then financially too, on how to properly, not spending your money on stuff that's not gonna, instant gratification that's not gonna provide you more money. So financially, so that's the impact that I want to have.
I'm gonna have to bring you back on so we can dive more deeply into that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anytime, man. This was awesome. This was fun.
Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
This is cool. Yeah. And that was an hour and 19 minutes.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, dude, that was dope. Yeah.